Welcome to Two on the Vine. My name is Vinny. With me is KY. He's calling in today. Hi, KY.
Hey everybody. How's it going?
So, we have he's our guest caller for the day. The Two on the Vine podcast is usually hosted by only me, but today KY is joining us from Costa Rica, calling in on a landline. So, you're going to hear some great quality from him. And what are we going to be talking about today, KY?
Well, we're gonna talk about getting fingered.
Wait a minute, can we say that?
We're gonna
This
talk
is
about
the
getting
internet.
fingered. I think that was the topic for today. I think we might need to get some experts on the subject because I've never gotten fingered before, not yet.
Wait a minute, you mean you haven't?
No, I've been through many simulations where it's many VR trainings, so I might as well be an expert at getting fingered, but I've never actually had any real battlefield experience.
So what you're saying, Liquid, is that we need to find out how to get fingered and when we can get fingered, and we can also find out why we're saying the word fingered so much.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, and I think we should get right to it.
Okay, great. Well, that brings us to our next guests, Edmund McMillenn and James Id. And today we're going to be talking about fingered. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Why don't we just discuss right away, what are we talking about when we say fingered? What is fingered?
Fingered is a video game that James and I made. Over the course of, according to James, a long time, but in my memory, it was a very short amount of time. And we made this game for fun and profit. And it's a murder simulation that is more accurate than Call of Duty.
What about hatred? Is it more violent than hatred?
Well, I didn't say violent.
Oh.
Fingering with violence is a little, you don't want to be too violent.
Yeah,
Right.
no, we're PC here.
Yeah.
There's no violence in our fingering.
So how do you murderize people?
Well,
Do you murderize people in this game?
you murderize people through the agreeance of society.
We sound absolutely enthused about this, don't we?
The enthusiasm is dripping, especially from the phone quality of KY. But aside from that, I want to ask about the game. In all seriousness, you guys worked on this game and you named it Fingered, which you knew was going to lead to 1,000 fingered jokes.
I didn't realize until we started this podcast. Honestly, I'm getting it now.
I think we're the first ones to
now.
really drive it home.
Well,
It's going
to get much worse after this, my friends.
Yeah, I said to everyone, hey, you should get fingered. And I didn't know what I was saying. I didn't know that. I feel really bad now. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people triggered. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people upset. I'm contemplating. I want to rename it now. I almost want to call it just digital stimulation because it's a game that stimulates you digitally.
Yeah, I don't think that your child's teacher liked being told to get fingered.
What if you renamed it Finger Fucked? Anyway, so about the game, what is the game really like? What can gamers expect from Fingered?
It's like a walk through America. a slow walk through Philadelphia. I think so.
Well, I've been through Philadelphia. Yeah, it's like a slow walk through Kensington.
I'm calling from Philadelphia right now, and you can hear.
Yeah, you can hear how it is.
Yeah,
I hear it right now.
No one's going to buy your game now.
I heard. Wait a minute. What was that noise? Was that Philadelphia buzzing?
Nothing. You didn't hear that. Sorry. It's the finger filter.
So this is a game where you.
I better hear a moan after the next.
Put that away. I told you.
Stop.
You can't have that out while we're doing our podcast. put it
Okay,
away, or
okay,
put it
okay.
inside you.
It's gone. It's
Okay.
I'm satisfied.
All right. It's in? Good. So Fingered,
Yeah.
speaking of things,
Yes.
Fingered is a game where I've seen a little bit of it. I saw the trailer. I want to talk about the trailer for a minute.
Yes.
Oh man, what an interesting thing that was. Because I watched it and I said to myself, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. And that's usually the success of an Ed trailer, I think. Usually your games have some interesting trailers, but this one left me many questions that were unanswered. And so my question to you is just, why?
Well, I was under the assumption that you could put any game for pre-order on Steam. And I was like, James, let's do something awesome. Mm-hmm. Let's do a 1% off sale for pre-orders. And let's make a trailer for it. And then we made it for no reason because you can't do that.
Oh, but
so we put it up. So we removed the 1% stuff and we said coming soon, and then we put it up online.
Yeah.
And it involved me and my wife, or my wife videotaping me with large hands on my hands, cutting the fingers off of small hands.
The little baby hands.
All of which you owned, right, Edmund? Like, you didn't go out and bought these hands for the video.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't. Yeah, I owned.
and even better, this Fingered trailer didn't get removed by Valve.
No, of course not.
Yeah, it's still up.
No, the next one will.
Valve doesn't remove anything.
Yeah.
It's the people who. It's the old lady. There's an old lady in North Carolina who calls and complains, and she's high up in the ranks. She's like
She's Gabe's mother.
Yeah, and she gets pissed, and he gets
Gladys Newell.
But yeah, they don't ever themselves yank anything. They're like all gung ho about whatever.
I mean, I want to recommend this trailer for anyone who's listening. It's on James's channel, which is James Id. So you can,
or on the Steam page for the game.
You can just go to the Steam page for Finger. It's amazing.
Yeah, to get to the Steam page, you just need to go to fingeredyou.com. You don't. No, honestly, Fingered You.
Is that a Wii U game?
No.
Can I use the gamepad to finger some criminals?
Oh, that would have been wonderful. But no, it's Fingered You. You spell out you. If you actually type in fingered with the letter U, I'm pretty sure you find something completely different.
Let's not go to that page.
It's funny. When I was doing like a modicum of research for this interview, I went to the subreddit Fingered, and
what did you do?
Learn a lot about the game. Yeah, I don't. It's not safe for work if anyone is about to do it, but yeah.
You just described my experience of trying. Like, I like to see how things are going. Like, I have analytics on everything. I like to see where people are coming from. And I saw there was Reddit traffic, and it's like, oh, I wonder what page it is. Went on Reddit, search for Fingered, and it's like, why didn't I? Why? What was I expecting here?
Dude, you guys should post a link to the game on the Fingered subreddit.
We should.
We should. We will.
Yeah.
Yes. This is a great idea.
I could do it right now while it's going on, and we can check back in later.
The good news is if you could do a Google search for Fingered, I think we're the first result.
Really?
Which is
no way.
Yeah, because I think Google suppresses porn sites.
Oh right, they have a little
You are the first result.
So yeah, kids of tomorrow they'll have a new name for it because everybody will be like, oh yeah, I fingered so and so, and they're like, whoa, they're in the game. It's just like a bunch of people.
You're reinterpreting the dictionary.
On Twitter. I'm going to post it on Twitter right now on the Fingered subreddit, and we'll check back in toward the end of the interview. I'll be right back.
This is a nice experiment. Go for it. Now, this is the second most popular thing named Fingered after the genius that is Freddy Got Fingered. But
I'd like to think that our game. So if Papers, Please is the Citizen Kane of sad simulations, then Fingered is the Freddy Got Fingered of America.
See, I was going to take I was going to take it to if Paper Please was the Citizen Kane of depressing art games. We are the Con Air of depressing art games.
We're the Con Air of movies.
Yes, but it's nothing's depressing about it. It's a happy, go lucky game.
It is. It puts a smile on your face.
And that's kind of like, you're kind of giving the listener kind of an idea of what the game is about when you reference Papers, Please. But just to describe the game, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, this is a game where there's a lineup.
It is an experience.
It's an experience. Sorry. Okay. All right. So it's an interactive depression. No, it's an interactive simulation of what it's like to pick out crime suspects in a lineup. But
Yes.
it's not a reliable narrator, or it's not a reliable kind of thing, because each person kind of views different traits differently, correct?
I'd go as far as saying that nobody's a reliable person.
Not even you.
Not even you.
I mean, I pay back whenever someone lends me money.
I was pointing at the person listening.
Oh, okay.
Even you.
No,
You can't see the finger.
Vinny,
That's-
Vinny, I'm pretty sure you're unreliable.
It was there.
Fuck. So are the people in the game, bringing it back. It's the people that you have to kind of talk to, and you figure out, well, what description of this person, like this criminal, and what does this mean to this person, and what does it mean to another person? I'm describing it poorly, but what would you guys say is that? How would you describe that?
I would describe it like Punch Out
Shit.
meets the O.J. Simpson trial.
Oh, nice.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
pretty good.
A
Actually,
little racist, but
Well, I would say another way of describing it is probably NES Pinball meets the Tanya Harding case.
Okay, that's whiter. That gets us away from racism.
Because
I don't-
if it's all white, it's not racist.
Yeah,
how about Lemmings meets Guantanamo Bay?
yeah. I'm going to
Jesus.
point out the fact that this game can't be. Or is it? Is this game sexist because there's no women in it, or is it not sexist because there's no women in it?
Well,
Is it
this is-
sexist because there's men that look like women in it?
these are questions that you need
Guys,
a higher
That we
power
will
to answer.
definitely receive
Now, the
answers
big problem
to.
is that you are presupposing these genders when really it's up to these inmates to declare their gender. Okay.
It's true.
But then
So-
it's up to the police to respect them declaring their gender. That you could declare your gender to be whatever, and these police, if they're assholes, they could be like, "Nope, you're this."
Right. Or as Duncan Trussell said on Twitter, is it possible to give a poodle a gender reassignment surgery? So that's what this game is like, giving a poodle gender reassignment surgery. That being said, I don't think people will get a lot of the O.J. Simpson and Tanya Harding stuff, because that was a little bit before their time. Do we have any more recent examples?
It's like Hulk Hogan and Hulk Hogan meets 9/11.
That's it. Sold. This game is a million
I'll
seller.
buy it. Yep.
Yeah.
Instant
We were going
classic.
for the million mark. That's what we were shooting for. I sat James down and I said, "Let's make a game that sells 1 million." And he's like, "Okay." And then we did it.
And then
you
you
did it.
named it Fingered.
Fingered.
Yeah. So I'm noticing there's some articles, there's some press for this game, not too much, but dude, I know you're getting excited.
Sorry.
Press-
I know. It was the 9/11 thing that set him off. I get it. There's a picture here I'm looking at right now. It's Ed. You did the drawings. Like I see a lot of Ed in these character faces, and they're randomly generated. Correct?
C.
Okay.
It's like Facist, that little game you put out.
Yeah. Faces was going out of character here, but Faces was the initial kind of like, I really wanted to do a randomly generated face simulation type thing as like a prototype way back in the day. And when I done it, I was like, oh, this is fun for me, but I feel like there's something more that could be done here with it. Like I really enjoyed making a random face generator. And I think just about everything that I'm working on now and will be working on forever will have some sort of random generation to it because it's just more interesting than not. And I just kind of, I mean, it really definitely started as like I just want to draw and please myself. I'm pleasuring myself by just drawing a bunch of people that I want to see infinitely generated. Oh, yeah.
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 Well, it
exactly
can't-
I gotta lie. That time I cheated. I put my vibrate mode on, which will test it. So it wasn't that perfect, but
Are there other modes to a dildo other than vibrate?
yeah, there's sound mode, like just because the vibrate is like silent mode, and then if you turn it off silent, then it has the actual alert sound.
My question is why can we hear it if it's silent?
Well, when a vibrating object is touching another solid object, the sound waves travel through that object, and those things become an amplifier. When you hear that, that's actually
I was assuming you were using the dildo on your asshole, but you said you have to have it against a solid. Well, no, you said you had to put it against a solid object. That tells me you have it right up to your boner.
He's rubbing it on his beepus.
That's the amplifier.
Oh yeah,
my entire nether regions. I'm so sorry for interrupting your.
That's
your serious recounting, Edmund.
It's I call that move pirate radio when you put the vibrating dildo on your dick. It's like an antenna.
You know, there's a story floating around out there of how I owned a vibrator at one point and I didn't know what to do with it, so I just used it as a slide on my guitar. I swear to God, it sounded like shit. I ended up burying it in the woods.
It's almost like an EBO. You know what an EBO is, right?
EBO. It sounded like absolute ass. But anyway, just on a side note, Ed, about the thing. Well, James and Ed, I have a question. What does subtle penis mean? Because it says here defining features, and then the first one listed is subtle penis.
On that one criminal.
It's when a penis is not like, it doesn't need to. It's not right in your face.
Yeah,
it's
like
not overstated.
The kids nowadays, they're wearing the skinny jeans, and you see many a not so subtle penis.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a subtle penis.
There's a lot of penises out there to make a statement.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was a small penis. It's just humble.
Yeah. It's not trying to call attention to itself.
It's there, but subtle.
Like if you put like a bundled up pair of socks and down your pants, that's a not so subtle penis.
Right.
Even if it's not a penis. But if you're wearing chaps, that's a not so subtle penis. But if you're like if you're wearing those doo-doo pants that like Justin Bieber wears, the ones that like come down to his knees, that's a subtle penis. Like you're like he's telling the world, hey, my dick could be this long, or it could be like non-existent. You will never know.
So if our listeners aren't totally confused yet, yes, the word subtle penis is in this game. So you'll have to actually look forward to that.
Yeah, I will say, aside from the actual game aspect of the game, there is a whole other mode where you can search your friend's name, and it will show you the crimes that they have committed and what they look like and what they were, all their characteristics and stuff. And you can actually you can export a screenshot, print it out, and then post it on social media to out the person. And then you can tell other people about what they did, and then they can all jump on board, and you can destroy people with it.
In fact,
you can finger all your friends.
Yep.
So basically, the names are the seeds that generate the faces. And
yes.
Right.
So
the
my
seeds
first
that grow
two,
the forest
It's
of social destruction.
It just as you said, KY. The seeds are on the faces. That's always seed on face.
Okay. Yeah.
The first two I'll be entering is Edmund McMillenn and James Id.
Yes.
Speaking of James Id, go ahead, Ed.
I think those are actually up. Those are the ones that we're using on. At least one of them. I think James's is up there, or mine. One of them.
Okay, as on Steam, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me. You know what? We're in the golden age of the internet and broadband, except for KY, who's on landline in Costa Rica. But like, I could tell you right now. I'm looking at. So what were you gonna ask as I'm Oh, there I am. So if you go on the Steam page,
Jagged James.
There's Jagged James. There's Elbow Edmund. And so if you look up Edmund, what did you put in Edmund to get that?
My full name.
If you put James Id or Edmund McMillenn, you'll get those.
Oh,
Okay,
awesome.
so you get the nickname, like Jagged James is kind of your like criminal nickname.
Yes.
Or
And you have a
venereal
subtle
Vinny.
penis. Venereal? I like
Vinny
that.
vaginal.
Yeah, I like that. This is going to be a lot of fun. I think the stream is going to have a lot of fun with this too when we stream it live. It's going to be a lot of spam.
Yeah,
about
you know what?
subtle penises.
I encourage you to try to think of anything to throw in the database. I would like to see, you know, what would Donald Trump look like?
Oh, that's going to be good.
What would
Subtle wig.
Right. Yeah. So,
There was somebody recently. There was somebody recently that I tweeted at. I was like, "Oh yeah, I want to show this person what they look like." And when I put in their full name, the crime that they were accused of committing was raping an apple. And I thought maybe I shouldn't tweet this.
that, yeah. I mean,
That might
maybe they
offend
wouldn't be your friend.
fruit everywhere.
Yeah, they
You know,
probably
I'm
don't
allergic
want
to
this
apples.
known.
Well, that's the point. You need people need to know if that person was going to be is an apple raper.
Exactly. Like, and that's what the whole point is, to destroy lives.
You know,
Yeah.
you need to know if there's worms in your apple.
What kind of worms?
I'm just talking about penises. I'm sorry.
Okay, right. Gotcha. Okay. Now, I'm glad we had that specification there. Now, listen, James, I want to find out. Now, a lot of people know who Ed is because he made a game about meat and some baby that cries on people's poop.
Wait, Edmund's famous?
I don't know who he is, but I heard about this.
I thought he was just like I just know him from like I met him in an alleyway and he was like, "Hey, do you want to work on this?" And I was like, "Oh." So
Didn't he direct that movie? He directed that
what,
that
Super Meat Boy
pretentious-
the movie?
Yeah, with that famous developer Tommy Refenes. And Edmund directed the movie.
Yes.
And
Did I tell you guys that I really did have a person from high school message me and say, "Did you really make a movie about yourself?"
Wait, what? Really?
No, I haven't heard this.
Yeah, that really happened because it premiered in Santa Cruz, and it got a little bit of press locally. And this girl, she was probably really high too, but she messaged me and said, it was like, and I didn't know how to take it. Like, is she saying that I'm so full of myself that I would make a movie, or is this a compliment? And I'm like, I'm also a great director and editor, and I've won awards at Sundance for the documentary I made about myself.
Edmund, I wonder if she thinks that all like documentaries are autobiographical.
Always.
Very, very possible.
Always.
The fucking Imitation Game was directed and written by Alan Turing.
Like
Of
I'm
course.
pretty sure like whenever she goes on Netflix and watches like a World War II documentary, she's like, someone really needs to get Hitler. He's just making movies about himself at this point.
It's just constantly.
He just loves himself, and for some reason, Netflix is paying him to put these movies on Netflix.
Oh, sweet Jesus. But you gotta assume the worst, Ed. This is the nature of the internet, and having your stuff out there is just automatically assume that she thinks you're a narcissistic asshole. That's just how it
question
goes.
is,
Cool
why
with
would-
me though?
why would-
I know her in real life?
She
I
hates
just
you.
thought you were the only person weird enough to make a movie about you, so it had to have been you that made a movie about yourself.
Oh, there was one time I was working on a game that hasn't come out, and how can I talk about this in a way that's really cryptic? My mom saw what I was working on and asked if people were really being killed in it, and I laughed at the joke I thought she was telling, and then she looked at me weird, and then I said, "This isn't real."
Well, imagine Edmund being your mother and asking that question, and the response being a cryptic laugh.
Oh.
Okay, but there's more to this too. And then after the fact, I show it to Danielle's mother, who asks the same thing.
Oh my god!
What world do we live in? What is going on?
When you kill a pedestrian,
They don't think.
Yes, people are really dying.
when you kill a pedestrian in GTA, someone randomly on the street in LA just drops dead. It's your fault.
Well,
There's a high probability that my mother was high and Danielle's mother was drunk. So
can I ask you, was it a live action or FMV based game, like Her Story? Or
Well, no, it was actually just stick figures, and she was like,
and she was like, "Are people really getting killed?"
Oh, I love them video games.
Oh man.
So, as I was saying, let me go back to many words before this. The thing I was going to ask you, James, is why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and some of your work, so that way the people know, they get to know.
I don't know anything about me. Edmund, how would you describe me?
Yeah.
James is a guy that made a lot. I'm going to go on. I'm not going to go joking here. Mm-hmm. James is a guy who makes a lot of weird videos, and I saw potential in him long ago because you reminded me of myself, and I thought if he just had some avenue of some sort of direction and way to produce more of what he's good at, that I would enjoy it. So it's more of a selfish thing than anything else. So I was like, hey, why don't you do this trailer? And he's like, hey, why don't you give me some money? I'm like, oh, can you go less than that? And then lower, keep going, lower, and then, okay, yes. And then he worked on, the first thing he worked on for me was the very, very first Meat Boy trailer, which involved him puppeting a little meat boy as a man, which was James, cut his leg off and then started eating him with these insane mouthful of like razor teeth.
Well, you say puppeting a meat boy. I think that covers up the fact that I literally took like raw meat and made a puppet out of it.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome, and I was like, yes. It reminded me very much of like the Liquid Television days and like MTV, late 80s, late 80s, the bumpers and stuff that they would use for
weird stuff. Yeah,
back when they were creative and people were like doing things not necessarily like booming and rolling in dough, but more or less supporting artists that want to do unique stuff. And from then on, he was just kind of always the guy who would say, why do you keep using me when you can get somebody better now?
It's funny because like I go on Binding of Isaac on the Reddit and I troll them all the time, but like they come out with such good art and they come out with such good like videos and they're like clever and they're funny, and then Evan goes, hey, so you want to do a video for this DLC for Binding of Isaac? I'm like, why? Like really? Like I can't do any of this shit. He's like, I like it.
There's something there too. There's something unbridled, and it's not something you find everywhere. It takes a certain person. It takes a certain mental break to achieve the kind of insane honesty, I guess, that James is able to come up with. There's something there that just works, and I think it complements what I do. So I like to see it happen. And this is just one of those situations where I was like, he might have informed me that he could program multiple times, dropping hints over the years, but
dropping hints, sure. Like I've been a web developer since I was 16, which was.
This is what I'm talking about. He keeps saying I'm a web developer.
I'm a web developer. I was a web developer back in like 2002, and ever since then, it's like, yeah, I got this new job, and it's like, so you want to make a game now just because you make a bunch of HTML pages? You have a GeoCities site? You think you could make a big time game? You think you could be a superstar? I'm like, well, maybe. And this time,
you made this game in Dreamweaver.
Yes, I made this game in Dreamweaver. I edited some of the art using MS Paint. I did this game. When you buy it from Steam, you're not actually playing a executable. You are literally going to my Angel Fire page, and it's. I wanted to take it back a step back from using Flash. So instead of Flash, we're using Wild Tangent. Yeah, it's a. I thought about using what was it called? Shockwave. Shockwave. I wanted to use Shockwave, but I couldn't find. Couldn't find anything to make it with
early
Shockwave.
Newgrounds days.
Yeah.
Who's this fellow?
I think that's a good story. I think that sums it up. James is a fucking weirdo, and
right.
That's awesome. Like it's hard to find genuine weirdos these days. Everybody's is a poser weirdo.
Fake weird, right?
Fake weirdos everywhere.
I just watched a movie called Terror Vision.
Yes. Yes.
Right? And that's like the kind of shit that I think you would like, James, right?
All right, Vinny, I have to say, pure truth. Terror Vision is one of the movies that made me the person I am today.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Just watched it this week.
I watched it as I was a little kid, and it blew my fucking mind. Like, just the mere fact that, like, I didn't even start at the beginning of the movie. I just turned on the TV and saw, like, how the... Now, for everyone who isn't familiar with this movie, it was made in the 80s, and it stars a bunch of, like, actors you probably would have seen as, like, background players in a horror movie.
Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite plays the metalhead boyfriend in it, and he's a character actor that was pretty prominent in the 80s, 90s. Anyway, yeah.
Yes, and it also stars the guy who plays Bud the Chud in Bud the Chud 2. So he... and it's about this family. The parents are swingers, and they've decorated their house in, like, Art Deco, Greek Greco-Roman. Everything's pink, and there's pornographic paintings everywhere. Yeah. And they set up a satellite dish that beams down an alien that travels through TVs and eats them. But he doesn't bite off their arms or whatever. He first, like, injects them with acid, boils them down, and then drinks the remains. Mm-hmm. And as a child, I was like, this is what I want to do with my life.
And
like,
this
honestly.
Is like a beautiful example of practical effects. This is a beautiful example of, like, big slimy puppets and tentacles and, like,
oh my
weird,
God.
just slime and, like, and it's just, I would even describe the movie as slimy in a lot of ways because of the swingers and, like, all the dialogue is, like, really just, it's self-aware, but it's also presented as, like, funny serious. I don't know how to explain it. It's fun. It's a fun movie. I recommend watching it. Terror Vision. Strap in though. It
is bonkers. I can't think of many other movies that were made like it. And unfortunately for me, like, when I said this is what I want to do with my life, I suffered through 25 years afterwards of, like, not finding anything quite like it and being like, if only I had the money, if only I had the chance, if only I had, like, the ability to make something like that, the world needs.
Right. So, yeah, when I thought of what you do, I kind of immediately drew the parallel to Terror Vision. And there's, Cronenberg stuff has some cool stuff in it. I'm sure you like that as well. Like, The Fly is one of my favorite movies. I'm sure you can appreciate that.
Yes, I do like The Fly. I'm more partial to Shivers.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
That one is about a futuristic apartment building that gets infested with a venereal disease monster.
Okay.
Which is amazing because you see you see a bunch of slugs come out of people and go into people.
Yep. Yeah, that's next on the list. Thank you.
So, but no, like, my whole childhood was it was full of just watching TNT Monster Vision. Renting movies from, like, the rental store down the street called Couch Potatoes, playing video games, like, all night. Like, I didn't have a bedroom for a very long time. I lived in the den, so I had the TV, and everyone just went to bed, and I stayed up watching, I stayed up watching Gilbert Gottfried, like, shrieking about, like, Class of Nukem High coming next, And playing Punch-Out, playing Contra, and then, like, seeing the box art for this for these video games and going, oh my God, these would make amazing B, C, Z grade movies.
And
like,
we're talking like NES box art, like the drawn stuff, right?
Yeah, you look at the cover for Contra, and that's like a perfect Predator Aliens knockoff. Mm-hmm. It really is.
That was the reference. That was the drawn reference. I think was. Commando
both.
and Alien or something.
Yeah,
it was.
but I'm sure you would agree with me, Evan. There was a lot of knockoffs of the horror movies that we grew up with. Like Gremlins would come out, and then
Munchies
and Critters and Beasties and Troll. Like every same thing would happen to Aliens. You know, you got like Leviathan. You got like Deep Star 6. You got like a bunch of stuff like that. But I never got the stuff I wanted to see. That was that like truly bonkers, like 120%, like didn't care, just wants to give you like schlock to the nth degree.
Okay. Yeah, there's I would recommend Best of the Worst from Red Letter Media if you want more schlock.
Yes, absolutely.
On a side note.
Although like they're a good primer, but even I sit there, I'm like, I wish they would do this movie. Like my latest favorite movie, which I haven't gotten through yet because like I usually watch it late at night and I pass out because I'm so tired, is Max Mon Amour, and is about a woman who cheats on her husband with a chimpanzee. They have a sexually relationship, and the husband tries to like to call it off by like getting a whore and like hiring a whore and giving it to the chimpanzee. And the chimpanzee doesn't want to cheat on his woman.
You sure this isn't a Carl Pilkington story?
No. This is it's a Japanese. It's a movie made by a Japanese director in France.
What's the name of it? Max Mon Ami?
No, Max Mon Amour.
Mon Amour.
Max Mon Amour.
Oh, yes. We have a caller. Who's that? KY, is that you? Hi, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, I had a question for the meat guy.
Speak up! I can't hear you.
I wanted to know when Meat Boy's gonna be on my Ouya.
Well, that's an interesting story there, little one. Meat Boy will be out on Ouya soon, actually. You just got to go pick up your Ouya for $5 at Target. I believe it's discounted to what it's worth, and Meat Boy will be out very soon. You don't worry.
Now, what the hell? You got excited after that one.
That little boy, like your audience and the members of your crew, just they have this obsession with vibrators, my friend.
It's weird, yeah.
Now, I was not expecting that little boy to own a vibrator and use it on himself.
Yeah,
I'm quite disturbed.
I'm disturbed. I'm wondering what this Ouya thing is. Are you sure you guys just don't have indigestion? And it's just like, Ouya. You guys all right?
Well, isn't that what that guy says in Fist of North Star? Ouya.
I don't know, man.
Well, I don't know, man. The Ouya is... So, like, 3 years ago, and they're working on the next one, the Tuya.
Oh, fuck off.
Sorry, that was awful.
I'll do the IGN headline joke. You know, the sequel to Ouya is going to be Uno.
Oh, Uno.
No. Ouya. Uno.
The puns are flowing.
I hated Ouya before all y'all motherfuckers. I'll tell you that right
played.
now.
Did they ever
Amazing
reach
Frog.
out to you and let it get?
They were they contacted us from the very beginning, and they were like, "This is what we're doing." And I remember me and Tommy were like, "Wait, what? This is just like a out of date Android phone, and you're just going to put a controller on it?" And then they sent us copies, like just to try to get us on board, and it was just like, "Oh my god,
terrible."
The controller was so cheap and awful, and like, it was just unimaginably bad." And I felt pretty horrible too, because one of my close friends actually, I met him from a conversation that he was having with somebody else, saying that he just kickstarted it and he's going to get his development kit and he's going to make a game on the system, and he's so excited, and I just had to just be like, oh yeah, good for you, but you should probably make sure it works on other things because you never know. But at least Towerfall came out of that, you know. They funded
that is true,
and it came out, and that game's fucking awesome. And
Agreed.
never again. It's pretty weird. Like years before that, I was contacted, like not over exaggerating, 3 different times by 3 different companies who all wanted to do the exact same thing. and they were all like either tied to seed investors or were seed investors who wanted to invest in this product because they thought it was going to be really good. One of them was actually going to be a Flash-based handheld that you could play your Flash games on. And every single time I'm like, you're not going to make any money. There is no way this is going to work. This is a bad idea. Just bad idea overall. Like, you're competing with people who know what they're doing. And there's quality games coming out on these real systems. But, yeah, I don't know. I think one of them might have actually come out and it turned into one of those really like cheap, mildly illegal knockoff systems that run emulators.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's weird. It was an odd time.
And then we have the Steam console or the Steam box, which is a
Box.
similar concept but infinitely more useful because of the
it's just-
Steam library.
Yeah,
all they need to do is release the next Half-Life exclusive to the console, and that console will be as big as Steam.
Well, I mean, kind of with the way it's designed, it can't even really happen, can it? Because it's pretty much just a gaming PC with a Linux OS and like Steam on it. Like, it's not its own thing very much.
That's what
know?
makes it more useful, is that your entire Steam library, for the most part, the games that it can support will then just be on your TV or whatever. But it's still like, my computer's already connected to my TV, so I don't really need that device. Controller, I'm interested in.
Have you guys ever searched the Apple Store for Super Meat Boy or Isaac or anything like that? There's one really terrible one called A Paradox of Isaac.
Yeah, I have that on my phone.
Yeah, and there's nothing to do with Isaac. It's all Meat Boy based, but it's called The Paradox of Isaac.
I was like, the Paradox of Isaac must somehow reference random generation, and it doesn't even do random generation.
It doesn't.
They were so lazy too that they didn't even put any graphics on anything. There's like a red ball that has a Meat Boy's face on it. It bounces, and then it has colored blocks, and it says, "Purple block will kill you."
Edmund, I have to admit before we started Fingered, that I made that.
That was you?
That was me.
You
I'm
wanted
sorry.
to get on the bandwagon.
Yeah,
roll on that gravy train.
The gravy train. Yeah.
Yeah, it was more like I don't know. It was a Boolean train, but yeah.
And of course, it plays an ad every single time you die, like a 30-second ad with every death.
Well, that's what I call a feature, not a bug.
I wonder how much money they've made on that.
Tons.
On just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still don't know how the hell all that stuff works. It's hard for me to understand. Like, even with Super Meat Boy Forever stuff, like, I definitely want to make a game specifically made for the phone. What is that?
What?
Well, this is actually a special guest that we have.
Shit.
I don't know if
Who
you guys.
the fuck just came on this? Who just the fuck came on this machine over here? Oh shit! Oh yeah.
So I have to
come and say happy birthday to my brother, Adrian. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Adrian. We have.
Adrian, you're 52. Finally, I never thought that you would become 52. But you are. I thought you would be dead so much longer ago.
Wait,
this is a guest we have.
Person.
Special guest, Young Bossy. That's his name. He's a rapper, and he's here joining us today.
Y'all? What's up, Pennsylvania?
How y'all doing, Young Bossy?
It's the Bossy Boss.
I'm good. I just got back home from practice with with the volleyball team, as I used to do on a Monday night, and we did well. And I just called to say hi. I don't want to disrupt you talking about Linus and Charlie and all of these other computers.
You mean Linux?
Linus, yeah. But anyway, happy almost release day to everyone in America, because y'all are going to get fucking fingered in like 4 hours.
Close to that.
More like 13 hours, but thank you.
Yeah, it's 13 hours.
Well, hang on a minute. Young Bossy had a part to do in Fingered as well, because Young Bossy actually did the narration in the trailer.
Yeah, Young Bossy.
I know that voice from anywhere.
Tell us about some hot tracks and Fingered.
You did some hot tracks?
Well, yeah, I mean, the game only has, I think, 2 for real in it, but we were inspired by the mood and wrote another 8, and
Wow.
who knows?
Yeah,
Maybe when Fingered 3
avant-garde is
comes
that?
out, they'll all be in there for real. But anyway,
bypass Fingered 2 and just go straight to 3. It's a brilliant marketing tactic.
Well, I mean, that's what Ed's doing with Meat Boy tomorrow.
Ooh.
No, anyhow, did I send you a song today? I feel like I did, right?
You sent me a song, and I was gonna use it for the intro of the podcast.
Yeah, well, you fucked that up. God damn it.
It can be done in post. It can be done in post.
Oh, you're right. Good.
We can fix this.
I really did call just to say hi. I don't want to derail things. It sounds like you guys were actually talking about stuff, and I suck at that. I'm only good at ruining any sort of.
I have to say, Matthias, I'm so I don't know if I'm happy or sad because I felt like I broke you last night.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Mean, with my 10 narrations that
oh my god, all right. I'm all joking aside, I'm working on the release trailer for Fingered, and of course, I had to have this fellow do the narration, and me and Edmund just wanted to hear what was on his mind. So we're like, yeah, you just kind of roll with it. And what we got back, we're like, this is brilliant, but I think we ruined him. I think we broke his brain.
James, is there any way you can play the Yahoo track?
I can. You know what? I will
post.
I will do it. I'll give it to Vinny, and he'll play it in post. And he's
guys, wait! I can play the Yahoo track if you want.
Oh, I don't know how it's going to sound over Skype.
He'll do it out of his Vox box.
We'll just put it in now.
Oh man, my goddamn Yahoo's broken right now. Though I need to turn it on. Anyway, yeah, it was fun. I mean, you guys thought you broke me, but you really just.
It was brilliant. It truly, like every time I get to work with this guy with the trailers, and now with the game, I feel blessed because this guy is. I don't know where he came from. Like he is unlike any human being out there. I'm pretty sure he's not human, which is great. I don't like you.
Yeah, I am not human. We have yet to determine what it is.
My theory is you are a lizard person because you are just that successful at what you do.
Yeah, I'm either a lizard person or a first generation iPod Nano.
Right, one of the two.
So you just, depending on how the day is going. Anyhow, I'm psyched for the world to play this game. I was cracking up. Wait till you guys see this release trailer. Super surprise time of the 21st century. If you do, I can do this, my Yahoo thing right now. I think it's going to sound really crappy, but good. Tell me if you hear this. Can anyone hear this? Hold on. I'm turning on my Yahoos, everyone. Hold on. Here we go. Come on, Yahoos.
By the grace of God, we come before you today. Hey, Ed. Hey, James. Where's your shirt? Anyway, I'm glad to... Oh, look at those guys. Bunch of hobos from Ridiculon. Hey, Fingered. Yeah, that's a cool name. Fingered. What's Fingered? Fingered. Like, where do I stick it? Clearly not in any of the orifices of those gentlemen on that weird conveyor belt there. Awkward. So awkward. Can you say orifices on Yahoo? Yahoo. Can I say orifices on Yahoo? On a Yahoo chat page? Does anyone know how to get to my Yahoo from here? No? Well then, fry him. Get him out of here. Squirt him with that Mountain Dew soda pop there. Fingered. Out now. Don't wait. I mean, you have to wait till it comes out, but it's out now. No, it's out now. Seriously, on Steam. Buy it.
There you go.
Wow.
You guys want me to sell shit for
Excellent.
you. You called the right guy.
Wow. Oh, God. Yeah, that felt good. Turn on that vibrator. The crybration mode.
They
Cry
definitely got worse too. I did 10 of them. I just, you know,
10 of them.
maybe someday that'll be like the ultimate video double Jeopardy prize. I'd love Alex Trebek to give that away on Jeopardy someday. That'd be awesome.
Wow.
Anyhow, psyched for the world to play this game, and we wrote a little music inspired by it that will also be available to the people of, the United States and other countries in just a few short hours. And just a great team, James and Ed, and all the wrongness that they embrace at every turn in their life. I relate to that and encourage it, and only live to further the wrongness, as you guys all know. So it was a real thrill for me to once again be roped into some project that will, get people thinking and get people mad
And excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, and there is some genius. Ed could have been, if he wanted to go corporate, he could have been a great ad man. He's like Don Draper. He kind of is. He's got that one word.
I look just like him.
Yeah, and Ed looks just like him, and he thinks just like him, more importantly. So this game is going to go right to the top of the Billboard charts tomorrow.
To the toppermost of the poppermost, Johnny.
That's right.
Listen, Matthias, I want to ask you another quick thing while I have you here, because you're also working on the music for Binding of Isaac Afterbirth. You're doing some tracks. Ridiculon is working on a bit of music. How'd that go?
Oh man, super fun. I mean, for those who enjoyed Rebirth and all of the dissonance and clanging drums and thunderous bass, you're going to get a fuck lot more of that. It was a lot of fun. Who knows when that game is coming out? It will be out at some point, but for the haters and the lovers, it's going to do that thing that it did to you the last time.
I don't want to say it fingered me last time, but it would make a good tie-in.
Yeah. It won't finger you, but it will club you.
Good. I'm excited, man. I love your soundtrack and Isaac. I have it on the 3DS now too, so I could take it with me on the go, and I get the headphones in. So
Great.
That's one of the few 3DS games I'll actually plug headphones in just so I can enjoy the tunes.
Awesome. Well, yeah. I think for this next round in Afterbirth, you'll have a similar, the auditory hallucination thing will carry on with lots of this shit flying at you and panning crazily, and I hope you enjoy it.
Well, thank you.
All right, dudes, listen, I've got to put my children to bed. I mean, that's just the fact here.
Okay.
I'm glad that I was able to figure out how to get on to this Skeep conversation. And you guys are great, and I look forward to people being up in arms tomorrow about this game and the very dour, dark, sour, dank, slow R&B stuff that we wrote for it. And motherfuckers, buy the bonus, because Ed wrote the lyrics for the bonus track, and they're really good. We got to boost Ed's confidence in his lyric writing, because he's kind of an old school lyricist. He's got the touch.
Nice.
So, and it's 8 minutes long. It's like the bonus track is as long as the rest of the album, practically.
I can also confirm Edmund McMillen's touch. He is. I'm very familiar with his touch.
It's like a velvet glove dipped in iron.
Yes, and then just shoved into you.
Yeah. It doesn't matter where.
No.
We're still talking about video games, right?
What? You're still here?
Oh, whoa! What was this channel that I signed on to? That's right. Oh, okay. You guys can get back to talking about Linux and other shit. I'm gonna hang up, and I'll talk to everyone tomorrow on release day. Congratulations on a game that got cranked out like an orangutan baby. How long is it? How long is an orangutan in the womb? Not very long.
Weeks.
Couple weeks.
Anything that's not human is just a few weeks.
Shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wish this was cranked out in a couple of weeks.
Right. No, actually, this is more like I don't know. I guess it was sort of a human baby.
It was a preemie.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a preemie. It would fit in the flip down part of the shopping cart where the kids usually sit in a line on the side. Oh god. Oh, did someone just give me the slide whistle?
Maybe,
inappropriateness?
maybe, Matthias, maybe. The world may never know.
No, that's just how it sounds like when I masturbate.
Oh.
That's how you know it's done.
Anyway, nice talking to you guys.
Thank you for joining us, Matthias. Great to hear from you again.
Welcome. Well, carry on, guys. I look forward to the next time I can sort of crash your party with, just nothing having to do with anything. This is my usual.
We'll
right,
find
dude.
another important moment, and I'll be sure to let you know about it. Take it easy, Matthias.
Sounds good. Bye, Ed. Bye, James.
Bye.
See you, Matthias. Toodles. Young bossy.
That man is truly a genius. Like, I can't wait for you guys to hear what's in the game and what he created. Is just bonkers. And the thing that he was saying about that Edmund wrote is probably like the best thing I've ever listened to. Buy the game and the soundtrack so that you can listen to it all the time.
What Matthias was talking about was that there was, the actual soundtrack of the game has like 2 tracks, but they decided that it would be fun to do a little album that was inspired by the game soundtrack with the game soundtrack in it. So they're launching the Fingered album the same day as Fingered, and it's full of Fingered type music in the same vein, as well as
nice.
a lot of cool stuff.
It's very not in the way the music sounds, but the fact that they expanded upon the soundtrack. It's very Mortal Kombat, the soundtrack.
Cool.
It's very Mortal Kombat, period.
Yes.
So how do you get the album? Is it on Steam as well, or?
It's on Bandcamp, and I know that they usually do this thing where if you pay a certain amount, that you'll get a bonus track, and the bonus track he was talking about is the one that I wrote lyrics for.
Okay, cool.
To the best of my ability. It's nice to be able to utilize somebody's voice, like Matthias or somebody else's, and make them say weird things.
I'm trying to pound out erotic fiction as fast as possible so that Matthias could read it.
He should. He can read anything.
I want him to read my Gargamel versus Shaquille O'Neal erotic fan fiction.
You could probably just
Gargamel.
use the guy a bunch of a few characters, some verbs, a noun, and a location. He would just generate it for you.
Oh my god, that would be even better.
He
Like,
is
What
the
are the
random
probably
generation of people. Like he is the
Autoerotic
RNG.
narration. Yeah.
One of the fun things that we got to do with him for this was kind of like, he's never played the game. So it's like, hey, just say some stuff. Like, record yourself saying some stuff. And we just give him a few visuals of like, okay, an electric chair and a lineup and, there's fat people. Just say some stuff. And then he just records himself saying stuff. And then we design around it and or just push it in where it needs to be. And you're just filled to the brim with Matthias narration. And it's pretty awesome. He's definitely a great part of the game's theme, I guess you could say. I don't even know who he is in the game, honestly.
He is kind of like, if you guys played Mortal Kombat 2, I think. He's the guy that comes out and says toasty, but
the toasty guy.
But we decided to make
Ed
that we decided to make him like permeate every aspect of the game.
So the
That's
thing
awesome.
about Matthias is like, here's this guy who's got this amazing voice. He's got this amazing ability to ad lib and make music, and it's like you have him, you want to utilize him. Like, I would put him in every orifice if I was.
I think
developer.
the key to making a good game nowadays is to get people who don't have anything to do with video games. Just get the whole video game people out of here.
Right.
Get all the video game people out. Bring in people that don't know anything about, don't even really play video games. You bring them in, and you make everything better.
Well, that was the case for like. I'm sorry to go serious here, but that was the case for filmmaking in the 70s and 80s that made filmmaking so good. Was like they literally. I don't know if you were joking at it, but like David Lynch was originally a painter. Alejandro Jodorowsky was a playwright and he was an actor.
He was a mime.
He was a mime. Yes. The best stuff really came from people who didn't know what they were doing. So was the worst stuff. I mean, Manos: The Hands of Fate was from a fertilizer salesman. I'm not making that up. That is literally what his job was. He had a bet. He had a bet with someone that said he could make a successful horror movie, and he made Manos: The Hands of Fate.
That's a great movie.
People are still
I watched it again recently.
watching it.
Torgo, I didn't realize the first couple times I saw it that Torgo plays such a vital role. He's like the main character.
Yes.
And I also found out that he killed himself after that movie.
Well, the best thing... I'm going to gloss over his death. Who cares? But but the game has been... The movie has been remastered and it's coming out on Blu-ray.
I have it pre-ordered.
I want it buy fingered so I could pre-order Manos: The Hands of Fate on Blu-ray.
It's amazing how a movie could come out and be so terrible that years later it gets a Blu-ray release.
Oh my god.
It's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing. And to be fair, that is a very rewatchable movie because you get your friends over and you just shit talk it and it's a lot of fun. And it's up there for me with Troll 2 and like The Room. So
well, the thing is I don't shit talk the movies. I don't. I love the awkward silences and the non-actors and the weird aesthetics. I mean, that to me is appealing. It's like listening to Trout Mask Replica. For a while it seems distant. It seems like the parts aren't coming together. But like if you unfocus, if you stop thinking of it as a movie, you start thinking of it as people put this together. Things come into focus. Things come together, and then you have a better picture of what you're watching. That's
definitely a fun part of watching the quote unquote schlocky movies.
I mean, that's how you can get through something like Black Devil Doll from Hell.
Don't know what that is, but I'm going to write it down as
best.
well.
Oh my god, Vinny! If there was ever a movie you needed to own or watch, it was Black Devil Doll from Hell.
You got it.
Black Devil Doll from Hell.
Black Devil Doll from Hell that has the best soundtrack, has the best actors, and it has the best main character, which is literally a stereotypical dummy in blackface and dreads.
Oh my god!
All right,
the guy got his girlfriend to get naked in the movie
and had this dummy.
With the doll.
Yeah, had sex with that doll, and that doll the whole time is just like flailing its like wooden arm against her butt, and it's screaming like, "Yeah, you like that, bitch? You like that, bitch?"
Oh my god.
I still haven't. James, did you ever see his other movie?
The Tales from the Quad Dead Zone.
Yeah, I have not seen it yet. I have it though.
I got like halfway through it, but like by that time I was way too drunk.
Yeah, I think a big misconception, especially it's one of the things that me and James have in common is how we kind of watch those movies, and I think it kind of goes with what he was saying about, or what I was half joking about when it comes to getting people who don't necessarily aren't part of a scene, I guess you could say, aren't hip to the slang and the social aspects of what video games have kind of become now, or what movies were then. You get kind of outsider artists who are artists, or just period artists. They want to express themselves. They have something to say, and they might not be able to execute it in a traditional way, but it doesn't make what they have to say any less worthy of being watched or any less interesting. In fact, it usually makes it more interesting, because when you get something that is, traditionally bad, like, The Room or Manos or Troll 2 or something like that, like all three of those movies, the major thing they have in common is like all these people set out to do something, believe that they could do it, and did it, and it all comes from this bizarre perspective that you simply don't see a lot of, and it's just kind of magical. Like, yeah, I watch The Room a lot. It's my favorite, I guess you'd say, bad movie, but I do not think that movie is bad. I think it's incredibly watchable.
Yeah,
and
I think
it really is.
I think it's a little. It's even though I take entertainment and like listening to people riff over these movies, like riff tracks, like for the most part, I feel like it's doing whatever movie a disservice. It's also like making everyone go into this weird state of mind where they automatically have to like criticize something. They have to break it down and make it fun to break something down. When they could just enjoy it for being as oddball as it is by itself. I mean, you don't need someone telling you why Rock and Roll Nightmare is fun to watch. It's fun to watch because there's fucking monsters that are like finger puppets that are like puking all over the place, and like a Canadian heavy metal guy wrote and directed himself as a god fighting
Thor.
He's Thor fighting starfish monsters and the devil.
The devil is fucking awesome. That
Yeah,
movie
okay,
is
I haven't seen this one either.
I'm a fan of all the bad, like, I wouldn't consider, again, you say bad.
Don't say bad. It's
like you find any, like, Black Roses, Rock and Roll Nightmare. I can't remember the other two that I've seen recently. They're all like 80s metal Satan type themes. Like, it was the whole kind of propaganda scene of metals telling kids to kill themselves and corrupting our youth responses. And back in the 80s, actually kind of almost similar to how indie games are now, there was just like an influx of like, oh, people want to watch movies in the 80s. People have VCRs now, and we're making money off of this. Everybody wants to play these things, and then they start throwing money at all these people who aren't really traditionally great at making these things, but they're still functional, and they're getting out there, and they're exciting, and whatever else. They're saying something kind of different, and they're giving a bunch of artists voices that usually wouldn't be heard. And the 80s is just full to the brim with just tons and tons of unique perspectives that aren't necessarily executed in a way that is great, but it doesn't lessen the effect of how fun things were back then.
Well, Evan,
Yeah.
you touched upon a really important thing. Was they threw money at people that wanted to tell a story, that wanted to have a voice. And the thing is, like, I don't want to call these bad movies because they can't be bad if we keep on going to watch them.
For sure.
I feel like it's just poorly executed, and that's the most that you can say. Like, in contrast, like, you can compare it to something like I Know Who Killed Me, which was done cynically. No one making that movie thought, oh, I'm really having my voice heard, and that's barely unwatchable, and it's technically better. I mean, they had a crew that knew what they were doing, but since no one gave a shit, like, no one wants to watch something like that, versus a Tommy Wiseau production where he knew absolutely nothing about movies, but he knew he wanted to tell the story, and despite it being a complete wreck where no one wanted to be a part of it, you're hanging on to Tommy's coattails. He is your crypt keeper that's presenting you this story.
Well, I have a question for you guys on the same note. Okay, so what's the difference between The Room and Tommy's like TV show that he did on whatever Hulu?
The video game one?
No, not that one. He did another one. It was
the one that never came out. He did like a pilot for it. I think it's called the
Neighbors or something.
The Neighbors, yeah. Which there's a bunch of episodes online. Like, they did release it.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either. It's one of those things
it's hard
where,
to
like,
watch.
People are. It's hard. Like, so I saw his video game series, and it's weird to see him, like, because of course at this point he knows that, like, or he thinks that people like him because he's so weird. So he's going to be extra weird, and he's going to ham it up and be a big weirdo. Yep. Which is awkward in itself. But the beauty is when you get him honest and improvise, like, just like when he's actually playing the games on that show, the Tommy Wee Show. It's really fucking funny. Like, you still get, suddenly you get the perspective of the guy that wrote The Room, and you're like getting these weird semi-sexist, semi-racist one-liners that are just like you're hanging out with your, step grandpa who's saying awful things, but that you still appreciate him. He's a genuine person, and he's saying some hilarious stuff that wouldn't normally be said, and that's the kind of stuff that, I mean, I think we're all kind of missing at this point. So yeah, but yeah, I could see him definitely getting into that mode of like, I know what people like. They like when I'm wacky.
Yeah.
But still, I think the undertones of his perspective on the world will hopefully bleed through. As long as he's writing it, I think that's kind of the important thing.
Well, that's the kind of... I like the idea of... So the bad movie subtitle isn't even really about the movies being bad. Like, it's more about... Because, honestly, if we had a thing, me and my friends, bad movie night, and that was better than, like, regular movie night, we would find these really obscure, weird movies and just enjoy them. And it's like... That's the beauty of The Room. Why have I seen The Room a dozen times, but I've seen some of the best movies in the past 5 years, like once? You know, it's because it's endlessly rewatchable. It's fun. It's quirky. Then I watched The Neighbors, that Tommy Wiseau show that he did, and where he's trying to be weird, and he plays like 2 roles, and it's crazy wigs and bad sound. And it's just, there's a lot of innocence. There's a lot of, like, kind of that naivete about, like, I'm going to make something, and maybe people watch it. I don't know. He's like, I know people are going to watch it, so let's be crazy. And it's not as fun. But that's kind of like you said, like the outsider's perspective, but it can't be forced. It kind of has to be genuine.
Yeah. It's always the stuff that you don't know that you want. Like, it's the perspective or the experience that is part of a minority, you know? Like, I mean, I guess you could compare it to pornography of the 90s and, like, through the 80s, pornography went from like, oh, this is what girls look like, to this hyper-exaggerated, fake-boobed, weird blonde girl. Like, right. Weird Barbie doll-looking weird thing. And then, as that became the norm and everybody got sick of it, you see more natural-looking girls pop back in. And I think that's like, people really don't like the things that everybody likes. They want the thing that they don't know that they want. They want the perspective that is unique, and they want the person that looks weird but pretty, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
they're more like they're more into a change in the status quo sensation. Like, they're desensitized to whatever's popular. So when something comes along that's kind of out of that context, they're attracted to it, like regardless of what it inherently is.
Yeah, like my favorite band right now is Tame Impala, which is like a band that you listen to a lot of rock that was happening the past 10 years, and it sounds like, to me, it just sounds like a lot of people were doing the same stuff as each other. And then you have this band that kind of does something a little bit unique and psychedelic and kind of is a throwback, but in its own weird way. And it's appealing to me. It's a lot of fun. I like the music. I saw them live. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of how I feel with music. Like, we haven't really... You know, you get too much of the same stuff. You want something a little different, but still done well. Just different perspective.
Well, I don't even know about the done well. Like, one of my favorite albums, honestly, is Suicide's self-titled album, Suicide, and nearly every track on that album has the same melody and beat, just different lyrics, and it's just shouting lyrics, and it just, for some reason, the combination of the flavors of those elements and that album puts me in a headspace that nothing else does. You know,
1977 album, huh?
Yeah,
I'm gonna check it out.
Or like, there's a guy named Viper, I believe. He's
the rapper, right?
Yes, who, like, he can't. He's not very great at rapping, and his beats are a little weird. And he records it using like an onboard computer mic from a from like a compact from like the early 90s, and it just those combinations of elements, plus his fucking bazonkers lyrics about like you're whack because you don't smoke crack,
right?
Like it's not even gangster rap at that time, it's crackhead rap, right? Like it's stuff like that just like it opens your mind to something that you didn't know was there, and is kind of welcoming, or you welcome it, because everything else wants to sound polished, wants to have the same stories. Not everything needs to be a love song. Sometimes you have a crackhead telling you to smoke crack.
Right. But he's got, you know how many albums he's got, though, right?
Oh,
Viper has like 100 and something albums on iTunes, more than 100 and something. He's got like couple hundred at least.
My favorite song, I think it's called "I Sell Dope Boy," And it's like he himself is like, all right, I'm going to switch things up. I'm going to lower my voice to a register where I can barely talk, and I'm going to rap that whole song. So, and he's doing it at the same kind of whisper that like 8-year-old Let's Players do when they record their videos, so mom doesn't overhear them going like, "This guy's an asshole."
Right.
This asshole. This game sucks. It fucking wait. I think my mom's not here. This game fucking sucks. I'm gonna get that now. My Figured is going to have nothing but Let's Plays from like 8-year-olds that are going like, this game sucks. Nothing, Mom. Nothing. I'm not talking to anybody. This game fucking sucks.
Get out, Mom.
Are you masturbating again? No, I'm playing Fingered, Mom.
Or kind of along the same lines of those kind of musicians, there's also Tonetta, who I know
all right.
is a big fan of.
The thing is, Tonetta is at least I have to give him more props. He is actually technically abled. He's just so not the norm. That is his only thing that makes him like a niche, character. Is that he's so outside the norm. His music is so goddamn listenable that if you took it away from the videos and you just kind of took you made someone listen to not the porno pop, the stuff that's just like a sweet love song or a happy-go-lucky song, someone will add that to their iTunes and genuinely love it. It's it's wrapped up with this amazing performance that not everyone gets.
Right.
Yeah, I think I could say that Tonetta, since I met Tonetta, and I guess you could say befriended him in a way, my perspective on art and who I want to be when I grow up completely changed into who he is. Like, he's such a genuine artist, and it's so hard to find these days, where you've got this guy who for 15 years recorded songs by himself on his 4-track or whatever in his apartment after getting a divorce from his wife, mostly about how he hated her, and masturbation and whatever else. Mm-hmm. And then started recording videos, pretty much inappropriate videos that he couldn't really put anywhere over this large span of time, and ended up just amassing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos and music, and then discovered YouTube, knew nothing about computers, knew nothing about the internet, paid somebody. He's retired now, but he used to be an upholsterist. I don't know how you'd say that. He did upholstery. Mm-hmm. And on his off time, what he did was he would go home and record his music and record himself dancing to his music in many different personas. And then he would hand these videos off to somebody who would charge him a lot of money to upload them individually to YouTube. And he slowly built a following and kind of morphed from there. But this guy was losing money and continues to lose money on this. But he's doing it because he needs to, and he's doing it because he has something to say. And it's just so kind of inspiring. I hope to be where he is, if that makes sense. He's definitely haunted by his work, and I don't think he can stop himself. But you can just kind of see, if you can't look at the individual songs, because most people will be like, oh yeah, I heard Pressure Zone, I saw his video, and he's weird pervert, whatever. But he's so much more than a weird pervert, and you get his whole life story from his music. And it was I knew so many of his tracks, and I had so many questions when I finally ended up talking to him, and he just confirmed to me all the things that I already knew about his story. And I think that that's just so awesome. And it's something that I think I aspire to do, is being able to showcase in a genuine way who I am and who I become as I grow older through my art. And it's something that is very, very, very rare, especially because it's so easy for money to get in the way of it. And money can really poison things. So I definitely look to him as a major, major, major inspiration, as just what I want to be as an artist.
And remember,
releasing a game like Fingered is definitely a step in that direction.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It is. I mean, and I don't know. Who knows what tomorrow will hold or whatever, But the money's. I would assume the money's not going to run out. I'm really good with money. I'm very cheap, and as James can probably attest to.
I don't know why I would be able to attest to that. Well, I do know that I'm going to have to be very cheap with the price of Fingered.
Yeah, well. But yeah, I would love to be able to continue. Like, if, in all honesty, if James wasn't here, I probably would have given the game out for free. I could have just made it by myself. But it's not fair to me to fuck over this guy. Well, not really.
Well, to be honest, I don't think we both agreed that we wanted to sell this for very, very little. Like, yeah. I had to think about this for a lot because, like, I'm a nobody. I'm working with someone who's been very successful, and it's like, even though for the most part I'm thinking of it as I'm working with my friend, there's always that aspect where people are going to assume that since I'm working with Edmund, I'm going to be a hotshot now. But the thing is, that's putting out a game for this cheap, or doing a game like this, should contradict that, like, wholly. Like, I'm not going to be a hotshot because of this game, and I don't want to make a game that is going to be, like, universally loved, because, something that's universally loved means that everyone knows about that thing, that everyone can relate to that thing, and if everyone can relate to it, that means they're not learning anything about anyone else. I want to do stuff that's strange and odd and makes people, like, I don't want to say makes people think, but makes people feel something a little bit different, even if it's just like a different kind of revulsion or a different kind of, uncomfortableness or a different kind of joy. Like, that's why I wanted to work on something like this, and that's why I didn't want this to be like, oh, we're going to have a deluxe version, we're going to put it on Xbox One and PS4, and we're going to have it like $25, and I'm going to be a millionaire. It's more like, we're going to put out this game, and I'm going to have maybe like a really good sushi dinner, and hopefully hopefully more than 1,000 people play it. If not, hopefully those 1,000 people add me to Twitter and talk to me so that I act like I have friends.
Please talk to James, people.
Yeah,
please talk to this man.
Please. My desperation is like apparent, and I'm honest about it. Like, every time someone talks about something I've worked on, I jump in. I'm like, "Hey guys, how you doing?" And like, no, this is just a troll. It's like, no, please talk to me. I have no one else to talk to. And this is something that we have in common. I can answer questions. And they're like, why are you so weird? And it's like, I can't answer that question, but next, please.
Right.
I think in a lot of ways, Fingered was also a way for us to kind of fund the other stuff we may want to work on in the future, or may have been working on in the past.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, let's have fun doing this thing and sell it for $1 or $2 and kind of go from there. But I think at its core, like, Fingered was, I think when you play it, you will see how much fun we had making it.
Yeah.
I think that will be very apparent.
And I also hope that people don't look at the price. And I saw some people online, again, every time someone talks about this game, I'm reading it. But like,
which you probably want to curb at release.
No,
we haven't talked much about the release blues.
Yeah,
it's something that I've been able to get away from, and the only way to get away from it is to turn off the computer.
Oh, I will just have like a raging, like, I will have blues, but like, right now I just like, I don't know, I feel like right now I'm just kind of guiding the ship until it hits shore. And like right now I see some comments where people are like, well, this is $1.87, how good is this game going to be? And it's like, it shouldn't be a reflection of the content. It really isn't. Like,
if you're being generous, that doesn't mean the game has not got enough content.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that are like, yeah, games that are less than $2 suck, and it's like, yeah, that's because most people are trying to sell you a $2 game that really should cost like 15 cents.
Right.
Sure. Like we were more like, what's a funny thing we could charge for this?
It's ironic because if a game is less than $2, they're like, how good could this game possibly be? But then
Well,
you
who
see
cares?
any indie game that's like more than $5, and they're like, I'm not going to spend more than $5 on an indie game.
The thing is, at this price, who cares? I was one of those people that was on Xbox 360 just going through like the indie games and buying everything for $1 because it's like even if it was terrible, it was like
it's $1.
It's $1. It's like you might find a gem. You might find something that you love. Like me and my brother used to love like the headshot games in there, or like I loved this is a game with zombies in it, or something, whatever it was called.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah,
like I it shouldn't be a reflection of the content. It should be just more like if money has to exchange hands, why not make it a joke?
Yeah.
Sure. Keep it affordable so that people
can
actually play your game.
Yeah, not make it a joke like, the game's going to be $1 million.
Right.
We should have charged $1 million for it.
No, can you think of a number that is, you know what, for our next game, what is the number that like you put in the calculator and you flip it over and it says like
boobs,
boobless, or the longest one I knew is boobless.
Well, we'll do boobs, and that'll be the price of our next game.
Sounds good.
Boobs.
I really wonder how much you could have.
Be $800.85.
Can you put in $1 million for the price of a game on Steam, James?
I don't know if you could do that because Steam has. I don't know if Steam would let you. I know you could do that for like an App Store game though. So like let's fuck it. Let's make a game that like has. I don't know. Let's make Fisted, and we'll put it on the App Store for $1 million.
Right.
Maybe you can get
email
one buyer and be set for a little while.
Yeah, one buyer, and Gabe himself will email you and make sure that you're doing things legally, and then that's it. You got it. You're in. $1 million, one buyer. You're done.
Yeah.
Did Valve have any contact with you guys about that pricing or the game or anything, or were they just like full sail ahead because it's Edmund or something?
I always cross my fingers when I'm contacting them about this stuff because I'm always worried that whatever the next thing, because I guess I'm testing the waters constantly and being like, what do you think about this? And then I can just up the ante next time because there are much way weirder, darker things that I want to do in the future, and we're getting closer. We're edging towards it, and when it comes to just weird pricing and whatever else, it seems so far. I don't know how it feels to James, but to me it feels like I'm worried sometimes that maybe I'm not being as truthful as I should be in the emails, or I'm making things look more padded. I remember when I submitted to ESRB for Super Meat Boy, there was a part at the end where Band-Aid Girl stomps on Dr. Fetus. And I had to describe her stomping a fetus to death in a way that sounded okay, so we wouldn't get a higher rating. And sometimes I feel like I'm doing that.
I have the opposite problem where I am way too upfront and truthful, and then like immediately afterwards I go, wait, what did I say? Was that kosher? Like, is this going to be a problem? Like, ever since we started talking about fingered publicly, like I every so often I go to Edmund, I'm like, is that all right? Like, did I go too far? And he's like, no, you're fine. It's like, you sure? I'm gonna ruin your career. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be the death of Edmund McMillenn. I'm sorry.
If Vine Sauce wasn't the death of Edmund McMillenn, I think you guys will be all right.
I cross your fingers for the future.
Fair enough. No, but I know what you mean. You don't want to go too far because there's always, this world, the internet, is filled with so many different viewpoints, and a lot of those viewpoints will find a reason to get upset with you.
But at a certain point, like, it's very possible that either me or Edmund would do what would be the Steam equivalent of a porn video of a man fingering his pee hole. Like,
I saw that video.
You say a video, it's a thing.
Right.
So, like, but like, I would like to get to that point though. I feel like there's not enough of the ballsiness, or like it's not even ballsiness. There's absolutely no bravery in doing it. It's more so just like the compulsion to do something like that. Many developers I know don't want to do that do something that would push Steam's buttons, because that would be their future in jeopardy. And I would like to, if I ever had the chance to do this again, to interact with Steam again, like push the boundary more, just because like the stuff I'm interested in, I don't want to box it in a way that's marketable. I want to box it in a way where I'm happy with it. And
but you also have to tell a good story. You can't just be shocking for the sake of being shocking.
Oh,
Not that you said you wanted to do that, but you know, you need to have substance.
Let's put it this way: would Blue Velvet as a game work today, or would everyone be offended, and would it get pulled from Steam?
Okay, I don't know what that is.
You don't know what
I go.
Blue Velvet is a David Lynch movie that involves like it won awards. It was publicly loved at the time in the 80s. But if that was made into a game, or what's a better example, Edmund? Like Irreversible.
Irreversible.
If Irreversible was turned into a game and you tried to sell that on Steam, I'm absolutely 100% sure you would run into issues. And that is the problem I see with the games industry right now, and I'm sure I'm not alone. That like you have to kind of fit in this box that everyone has made for you. And because of that, you are never going to tell a truly adult story, even if it's like immature, mature. Even if it's like you will always be catering to essentially like the lowest age denominator, your lowest age demographic, because no one wants to lose money on selling this. And I hope I could get to a point and where that's not the case, where I could go, here's something straight from my brain. I'm not purposely trying to shock you, or if I am, it's part of the whole thing.
Right, it's part of the yeah.
But like this is uncensored, or this is edited in a way where I feel like it's presentable, but not edited in a way where I'm afraid Steam is going to deny this, or I'm afraid people will not buy this, or I'm afraid that some critics will call me sexist, racist, stupid. I want there to be game versions of Jodorowsky and David Lynch and even porn directors. I want games to go beyond like the 18 to 25 demographic. Evan?
When you say Jodorowsky, okay, let me take you back for a sec. I love the idea of games that are that abstract, but also that, pushing the boundaries, like Holy Mountain, and what was the name of the one before it? I always forget.
El Topo.
El Topo. I still haven't seen that. Big fan of Holy Mountain, though. But yeah, stuff like that I would play in a second, because I love shit like that. And I purposely search out, I do things like weird games, intentionally weird games, and people kind of know what I like. And I'll find the weirdest, like games that only involve you pressing one button, or games where you just move around. And I'll tell you what, I've had better, more lasting memories with some of those games than I've had with any of AAA or even the best indie titles. Just shit that people made, uploaded it for free, and was just like, here, everyone, have this. And I could point you to some of them, and I'll tell you what, like I said, amazing and memorable.
Yeah, I wish we can get to a point where there's more of that, though. Like, I was disappointed when I heard in Witcher 3, everyone has their tits out, and there's this sex scenes where women are just like, these busty things. I like the idea of like, eventually we get to the point where there's explicit gay sex in video games, or there's like trans people having sex in video games, or sexual encounters in games that aren't sensationalized, but we're not going to get that way if everything is like, well, what is my 15-year-old cousin going to buy?
Right. It's like super Hollywood, too. Like you said, Witcher 3. Like, everyone's beautiful, big, busty boobs. What about people that look like we see in the supermarket?
What about short people? What about bigger people? What about skinny people that aren't, like, attractive skinny? That are, like, lanky? What about, like, people that just, like, everyone in a certain way is attractive, but we never explore that in video games because no one wants to explore that in video games. I do. So I feel like, if I'm going to do video games, I'm going to be the odd man out.
For sure. And it goes further than just like theme and content, and it goes into just what a game is. Like, one of the most yucky experiences, some of the most yucky experiences I've had with games aren't necessarily ones where I am or somebody else is being attacked for something they said or did and trying to be censored by a mob of people who believe they're right and these person's wrong. But it was when I judged in the IGF, and in the IGF I see all these developers that I respected and had a great respect for fighting over whether something should even be in the IGF because is it a game or not? And it's just like, dude, like, we need that stuff. We need the stuff that is being argued about. Like, that it's automatically important. Like, it's automatically important if we're having this conversation. Like, and we need more of that. And then it just gets pushed away, and people just love to be on teams. They love to be part of something, even if it's like artificial. But they want to be part of team hate or team protection.
But
people just jump right in and they just go for the fucking throat. And there's just a lot of people, I think, that are. It's weird to say, like, being brought up in such a liberal environment, and especially where I grew up, like in Santa Cruz. When I hear people complaining about racism, I feel like it didn't exist here, if that makes sense. Like, I never experienced any racism at all. I grew up in a very nice. I guess I'm privileged in that aspect. Like, I grew up in an area that was all about equality, and even homophobia was like when I was in high school. Somebody yelled "fag" at some guy who was gay, and he was a speaker, and that person was hated universally by the school. Everybody just completely ostracized for being such an asshole to somebody. Wow. And this was in like 92, 93.
Yeah,
or maybe 94. But like, so I'm lucky enough to have that. And maybe that kind of like made me who I am in a lot of ways. But it's weird to see what I grew up with and what I believe I am as a liberal person lose sight of what it means to be liberal and what it means to be for freedom of speech and what it means to be protecting other people from being, destroyed by people who are being assholes. like it's weird.
Edmund, would you say there's any, like, you said that people like to be on teams, but like, is there a team for us? Like, honestly, I don't know. Like, I don't know if there's any outlet for people like us that are more liberal, but we don't.
I'm sure they're out there, but I'm sure a lot of people out there, they just shut their fucking mouth, though. They don't want to be they don't want to be a target. Like, it was this bizarre. I mean, it's still kind of going right now. I get these people on Twitter who are like, "Are you for Gamersgate or are you a feminist?" And it's like, all right. So these are like the two bizarro sides of this coin here, and it's like, I don't want to be on either team. Yeah, and they both now hate me because I'm not.
It's weird.
The moment I agree with somebody who has an opinion that I might share, because of course I agree with opinions on both sides, and it's like, that's just how I think people really are, and you just get hate from the other side, and then you get hate. It's so weird. But I feel weird saying it, but I feel like a fucking alien. I feel like people don't share my view at all on what I'm doing, and I have to look for weirdos like James.
Yeah, it's like it's strange because it's like I can't speak for Edmund. He might be a hateful person, but I have nothing but love in my heart. But like everywhere I go, whenever I open my mouth for a long period of time, someone's going to take issue with something I said, or parse my words to not reflect like how I truly feel. I mean, it's strange because it's almost as if everyone is expecting everyone to be the most polished version, the most edited person that they could be. It's like this thing where they've watched movies where people say just the right things all the time. But like, we can't. We're human beings. We say what comes to our minds, and sometimes those connections don't work properly. A word may come out that may sound hurtful, but like, we really don't mean it as hurtful. Maybe we have a completely different context. I'm going to get a little weird here, but like, when I was in high school, I was called a fag all the time. And whenever I whenever I hear that word, I don't think of like a gay person. I think of I'm an outsider, So maybe if I say like, you know, if I use that, if I now, like, it's saying that word, even just saying it as I've been called that, I'm sure someone's going to go, well, he said that word. And
He said that word. There was no trigger warning.
Yeah,
right. He said that word, and because he said it, now I'm upset because he said the word in that context.
Despite the fact that I've been jumped for it, despite the fact that my sexuality has been criticized, despite the fact that, like, there's no context, there's no consideration, I feel like I'm going to be attacked for every word that comes out of my mouth. And I feel like there needs to be some... I don't know. I hope there's people out there like me and like Edmund that, like, just have love in their hearts and realizes that people are these wondrous combinations of chemicals that just end up having relationships.
Yeah.
You know, and end up talking to each other. Like, that's amazing in itself. Why do we need to criticize it?
Yeah, that words don't have inherent power. Like, everyone's giving words inherent power.
The thing is, the words do have power. I will not use certain words because I know the history behind certain words and in using them. But once you say something like you cannot use these colors in any aspect in any conversation because they may have a racial connotation, or you may not use, you know, you may not talk about these type of people even if we have life in your heart, without saying, like, making sure that they are bolstered above society and protected. Like, it's strange. Like, I want to do games that have real world concepts, but I can't put the real world concepts in games without feeling like I'm going to get attacked.
Yeah, because
that's the other
kind of lost sight that it's the context that gives words power.
Yeah,
but you have to.
It's not like words have. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you're right. 100%. It's the context, and it's the way you say it with something in your heart. But a lot of people just hear the thing, and they associate it with a thing that happened to them. They're not strong enough, and they're not willing to be strong enough to, you know, just say, okay, he said the word, going to move on with my life.
Well,
but a lot of... Yeah.
I'm very sorry for going on this rant. I just made a single video game, and now I'm starting to sound like
No. It's fine. Listen, I wanted to just mention a few things here because this is important stuff, and this is human shit. This is stuff. If you're going to make something, if you're going to have your voice out there, listen, it happens to me too. I get shit from various places. I get emails from people that don't like that I said the word fuck. You know, I say the word cunt, and then I thought, like, oh, well, this doesn't offend anyone. And someone emailed me and was like, Vinny, I am highly offended by the word cunt because it reminds me of this. And I'm
Vinny,
like, well,
Vinny, keep on saying the word. Keep on saying it.
Well, the thing about this cunting word is that every time I find a way, well, you just can't be afraid. That's the point I'm trying to make, because you got to do what you do. And if people give you shit about it, you keep doing what you do. And if you don't, then you're not doing what you do. You're an asshole.
You can't be afraid of the word cunt. Like,
right.
You can't be afraid of cunt.
Oh, I use it all the time still. But the point is, there are some words I won't use. I'm not afraid of the cunt. Here's the thing. I think what you say, James, about, you know, people criticizing, and yes, you will say things that people will criticize. I've been doing this for 5 years, and at this point, I'm getting very numb to the idea that when I say something, almost every one of my streams, there's going to be at least one person that doesn't like the way I do this. Here's one. Me and KY, I'll tell you about a fun one. So I've been watching a lot of Rick and Morty, and I do the Rick voice a lot, like while I stream. Or I was for a little while, because it was fun. And I do the voice, you know, I do the voices. Oh, great, Morty. We're going to go to an alien planet, you know. So I would do shit like that. And one guy, actually a few people, but one guy kept making a post over and over again saying, what is this, the Rick and Morty show now? Every 5 minutes, Vinny is saying the word, you know, Rick and Morty, he's doing the voice. And the guy went so far as to make multiple threads about it.
He was so passionately upset that Vinny was doing an impression that overstayed its welcome in this guy's mind, which is fine, and he has every right to feel that way. But to be so stressed and so upset.
He went to the Game Grumps subreddit and made a post, unlike Vinny, who does this impression every 5 minutes. It was like this guy got himself so bent out of shape about my Rick and Morty impression that he had to tell the world about it and come across poorly to everyone else. So I just, I told him, listen, I'm not going to change who I am. By the way, here's a video of me pointing out the points and counterpoints of this argument. Please watch it. It was a link to a Rick and Morty clip.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not going to change what I do.
The whole reason I get so upset about it is just like it not because I haven't been doing video games. I haven't had that conversation, but like in my personal life, like I had to censor myself in my personal life because for a while there, wherever I went and worked, people would say, if I said a certain thing, they would be like, "You're just like a serial killer," or like, "Oh, you're a fucking weirdo," or like, "Oh, you're gay," and it's like, well, no, like I am me, and why do you need to deconstruct what I'm saying and automatically ostracize me?
Right.
Like I don't think this is just like internet criticism. I feel like as a society, we're getting to the point where everyone is on the spotlight and everyone has to act appropriately. Otherwise, people are either going to put you down or they're going to record you in your worst moment, put it online, and then make you into a monster. Luckily,
my worst moment is every stream I do, so that's all online. That's all anyone ever gets of me.
That's why I want to be honest with everyone, and I have been honest with everyone, and why I jump into every conversation is because, like, I don't have a filter. I don't want to have a filter. Christ, my name defines me as someone that does not have a filter. Like that you cannot go through life like that. And hopefully, like I hope there's friendly people out there that the people that understand that will kind of go, hey, that I'm cool with that. I'll be cool with you. And even if 25% of people out there said like, this, I'm not cool with fingered. The name gave me a trigger. I don't like you. I don't like what you did in this game because it's bad. Like it's like I would be happy if I knew there was at least a few people out there that are like that's fine.
Yeah, there's plenty. It's just hard to find them, and when you find them, you realize like, well, okay, this is okay. I can be who I am, and
yeah,
Yeah,
it just takes me making a game with Edmund McMillenn to find the people that are like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, they'll be there, and I'll tell you what. I think when I stream it on Vinesauce, I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this game, and you should watch.
I will be watching. I'll be in the chat room, and I'll be like, I'll be that creepy guy that everyone will be like, this developer, he has no life, and they will be right.
Honestly, the chat's going to move so fast, they'll probably just miss you entirely.
Sometimes, like we had, every time I streamed Darkest Dungeon, we had the sound guy from Darkest Dungeon show up, and he was awesome. He answered so many questions, and he was cool as fuck, and he just showed up like every time. So, you know what? People were awesome to him, and they were very appreciative, and they were thankful.
I think they would be very welcoming.
Well, yeah. I how much flack is the sound guy for a video game going to get?
Well, good point.
Unless the music is just like dick balls, dick and balls. Darkest Dungeon, is that literally just you're walking into a sex dungeon? Like,
yeah, it's Pee Wee Herman's sex dungeon.
I mean, a brothel is part of it. Each character has their vices, and you need to make sure that you de-stress them the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that sounds like a game I was joking about before.
No, it's true.
No, it literally, I was talking about. I once was joking about when I want my first VR game. If I ever did VR, would be a game called Helpful Friend, and it's about you. It's a VR game where you jerk off your friend while he's high as balls. So.
Okay, I like
that. Is there some kind of meta, like you can get a high score or fast?
Well, yeah, like you,
or maybe a leaderboard. You can compare with your friends how quickly.
Yeah, it's not just about how quickly. It's like how the quality hand job you're giving your friend. Like
the sensual.
Because like if someone comes quickly, they may not remember that climax. But if you really know the male anatomy enough to like. Truly, oh my God! I'm sorry for talking about it into that detail, KY. I know how you are.
The excitement really was just too much there.
I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry.
But why hasn't anyone made anything like that? Honestly, like if I had the stage to do something like that. Like, why aren't any developers going like, yeah, a hand job simulator?
Well, have you seen this game called Stick Shift?
Yeah, Stick Shift, and there was another one that was similar to it that I streamed.
There was Cobra Club, which is kind of along the same lines. Actually, Cobra Club is probably the gayest. Stick Shift, it's just a gay car, and you need to pleasure the gay car.
Yeah.
And the main character makes the most sensual faces, and that's the game. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I'm gonna link you to the video of it if you want to see. I have a
I
stream
will be
of it I did.
I will be masturbating to it tonight.
Cool. I'll link you. And also, there's another one where you have to. Here it is. It's called Succulent, where you have to lick an ice pop in the most succulent way possible. I think you'll enjoy these if you just kind of skip through the videos a little bit and see what they're about. You'll probably.
Well,
I'm watching it now. Oh God.
It reminds me of you had mentioned Rick and Morty earlier, like the prototype for Rick and Morty, which was what was it, Doc and Marty?
Doc and Marty. You gotta jerk me off, Marty.
You gotta lick my balls.
My chapped balls, Marty. Anyway, listen, guys. We're gonna wind down a little bit, but before we do, I want to ask a few questions that I know are on a lot of people's minds. Ed, I gotta put you on the spot. How's things going with Afterbirth? People are excited for that. I'm excited for it. Things are going well?
Yes.
That's all we need. Thanks. All right, next. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Ed. If you got more to say it. If not, don't worry about it.
I can't say that I do. We will be talking more about the new major game mode that we are still testing soon. Release date I have a post that I still need to do today. I just realized that shit. I got to do a post today, but it's not going to be the release date trailer. That's going to be next week. And then, so next week we'll announce that it's coming out.
Is James doing the trailer?
In the future. No, James was busy.
Oh, right, yeah.
KY. I did the release date trailer for Fingered. I'm doing the release trailer for the Fingered, and I'm making Fingered. What else do you want from me? do you want?
James will be doing.
I'm sorry, I forgot. Fingered is life right now.
Fingered is life.
He wants you to stroke the shaft.
I know,
Marty.
He wants me to do more than Fingered. He wants to he wants me to play with the taint a little bit, reach around.
The grundle.
That's fine, and if that's okay with you, that's okay with me. So.
Well, I only have so many hands. I just
you only have so many fingers.
I only have so many fingers, and there's so many orifices and so many things to tweak.
So let's go back. Since I heard the word fingered, let me use that to go back to fingered. So anyway, Ed, that's exciting news. Thank you. I hope Afterbirth comes along well, because I've lost many hours to your game, and it's probably kept me from making music and being productive, but I don't care because I have a lot of fun with it. And it's a good companion for the 3DS when I'm traveling, so thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited to have a portable version of Poop Shoot Tier Simulator.
Edmund, did I put you to sleep there? You sound sleepy.
I took a pee break.
Oh my God. I am so sorry for ranting that long.
That's okay, man. You know how it takes, like, when you piss, like a good piss, it takes a lot out of you.
It was mostly the Rick and Morty voices.
I
was like,
set
it made
you
you
off.
need to
Played
urinate.
out. I gotta get out of here.
Damn it! Can just whatever you do, don't make any threads about it, and rant about it.
Time.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
All right. Well, you also posted a picture of your gay sex porn collection on your subreddit there, so I guess I'll just disregard that.
Oh, it reminds me. I gotta check to see how it's doing. The Fingered Reddit.
What?
Thread.
Oh, right. Okay. Speaking of Fingered, though, seriously, it's as of this podcast, by the time you hear this, it will probably only be a few hours away, and the release date is officially the 18th of August. So that's basically, by the time you hear this, chances are it will be out. So you should check it out. It's on Steam. You can just Google Fingered and click the top result. Hopefully that'll still be there.
You know what? Live life on the edge. type in
Yeah.
fingered and hit. I'm
I'm
feeling lucky.
feeling lucky. Yeah.
I like that. I like that plan.
I'm gonna try to squeeze out the episode at least on iTunes before Fingered is released. So probably about midnight Eastern Standard or so. But if not, it will be already out when you're listening to this. So.
Yeah, and you can look forward to my stream of it soon if you haven't. KY might be a little bit longer. He's gonna be busy with some life stuff.
Yep.
But for me, I'll be fingering, and Ed and James, you're both of course invited to the cesspool of the chat, the crazy chat that moves faster than you can read it. If you're interested in that,
I'll be hitting on everyone in the chat room.
Here's a question for Ed. So, how are you going to? Are you prepared to explain to your kid that just before he or she was born, you were developing a game called Fingered about fingering mutant people?
I have a feeling my daughter will experience life a little differently than most people. So I think she'll also. I think by the time I tell her the story, she'll understand the context of just about everything. Or she'll just write me off. She'll decide that I'm a misogynist quite early in life and realize that I'm just keeping her down.
Well, she's just going to be like, Dad's gross. He makes gross games.
Gross, Dad.
Dad, why are you not on the side of Gamergate?
Sir, I'm going to make ultimate
not your shield, Dad.
Gross girl. My niece already likes eating bugs and grossing people out.
Really?
Yeah, so
okay.
I feel like that's my doing.
Well done. But just remember, though, when the time comes, you have to explain that, Fingered was, in fact, from a very pure place in the cockles of your heart.
Yes.
And that doesn't get hard.
I told you, didn't I start this about saying, my niece and nephew played the game, and then they tried to Google the title to find it? Did I say that?
I don't think so.
They tried to Google what?
They playtested Fingered. Uh-huh. They like the game a lot. My nephew, who's now, I believe, 6, he was scared by a part that I won't talk about because it'll spoil the fun. But they enjoyed it. And shortly after that, their mom caught them Googling the game's name in order to play it. And,
oh, no.
Well, thankfully, it sounds like we are the top result, so...
Yeah, it's safe.
Yeah.
Now
it's
safe. No, it's
there.
Ed, was it your nephew that you made the video where he said that the name of your guy was unoriginal in Isaac or something?
Yeah, that's Eli. He's very critical. He's a funny kid. It's weird. I was just talking to somebody earlier about this, how that demographic of I'd say 7 to 11-year-olds are kids right now that are growing up with YouTube personalities and podcast type, Let's Players as their television, like their cartoons. Yeah. It's bizarre. Yeah. Like their jokes are referenced from. They watch something. I think they call it crazy MMOs or something along those lines. Some sort of weird online Let's Play stuff, and they constantly talking about it like it's did you see the latest episode of this YouTube video? It's like, what?
It's
But they're already pretty deep in there. Like they are experiencing internet culture at its finest, and it worries me.
Yeah.
Well, but, it's weird for me because my dentist's assistant's son watches my videos, and I was telling the assistant what I do, and she was like, "Oh my God, my son watches you. You curse a lot." I'm like, "Yeah, I kind of do." She's like, "He's saying fuck a lot. Maybe maybe you should not say fuck." And I was like, "No, I'm gonna continue saying fuck a lot." She was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Can I have an autograph?" I swear to God, I was like, "All right." So I brought a card and I signed it, and I was like, "This is weird. How old is your son?" It was 7. I'm like, that's a little too young for what I do anyway. I think, I'm cursing and talking about rim jobs. Well, with context,
and he's probably
unwarranted.
He's probably listening to this right now, going "Oh my God, he's talking about me!" And forget I love hearing about those rim jobs from that old man.
30-year-old man, the 30-year-old man that entertains me by playing Mario and talking about rim jobs. Well, shout out to you, little Beezy. I don't know his name. So, but really though, you guys are amazing, and this was fucking amazing because really we covered like every aspect of life, and then we even had Matthias in here to add some like metaphysical like amazingness and
Some
boosting.
seasoning.
Yeah, he like spices it.
Yeah.
He came in like the voice of God.
Yeah, he does that, doesn't he?
No, that's me and Edmund's life. He just pops in occasionally, and then drops his craziness, and we're like, that was amazing.
Yeah,
It's true. I'll randomly be like on the toilet, and then I'll be getting a call from Matthias,
hello, Edmund.
And he'll narrate your bowel movement.
and he'll just say like 3 or 4 adjectives and a noun and hang up.
Right. Oh god, I love it. This is a guy like we got to write a game about this guy. It's just Matthias's like amazingness. And what do? It's like a text adventure like Walking Dead, and you just talk to Matthias for like an hour, and then you're done. You feel fulfilled and refreshed.
Well, it would be
That
like
doesn't sound like a bad idea, honestly. Like
It's kinda
randomly
cool.
generated, like just a black screen. You put on your headphones, and if there's some sort of voice recognition, and we just have Matthias say a million things completely improvised, and we make it like a choose your own adventure experience. That would be pretty great.
It would be great. Yeah. Like there's ways to make this happen, and if you need someone to voice act Rick from Rick and Morty, I got what it takes.
Vinny, I might have to message you and say like you might need to have to like finish me off. Like that voice is amazing, and I would pleasure myself to that all the time.
Oh, thank you. That's so
See,
sweet of you.
That's from the heart.
Yeah, I'm unlike your fans who hate that voice. Fuck them. Fuck
Yeah,
them.
Ed. Yeah, Ed.
Yeah, fuck Ed. What?
Oh man. So listen, before we get going, does anyone have any questions or anything that they want to say? Last words of the podcast.
I got nothing.
How about you,
I'm
Evan?
excited to get fingered.
Yeah.
All right,
I say
excited to get fingered.
from like release on, if anybody comments with any type of innuendo, that we don't react to it, and we make it really awkward for that person.
Or you know what? Should we even be shaving? Like, why would you even say that? Like, that truly like that is my niece and nephew use the internet, and you've exposed them to a world that they're not used to, and now I'm going to have to explain this to them, and this might have ruined their life forever. Thank you.
Yeah, there are people out there who don't have fingers.
They're
Right.
And we're
That's a
offending
shame.
them 10 times over every
Yeah.
time we say finger.
But they can't type a response, so it's great.
So we never hear from them.
well,
Yeah.
They're screaming at their monitor.
well, they have voice recognition software, but it's always
Nope,
messing.
they can't pick it up.
Oh.
But only to talk to Matthias in the Matthias game. That's the only thing they can do with that voice recognition software.
Yeah. I would just say, please, give Fingered a chance. It's $1.87. It's going to be available probably when you're listening to this. It's you help a brother out. Come on, I want to watch Manos the Hands of Fate on Blu-ray, and the only way that's going to happen is you buying Fingered. Even if you hate me so much, you're like, James, you've delayed eugenics for the 100th time. Like you seriously just go. To pick it up for me. I'm sure you spent more money on fucking role playing dice that now just rolls ones all the fucking time. Like just fucking buy the game. Don't even buy it for yourself. Buy it for your friends. Be like, hey, I don't like this game or these people, but
Maybe it becomes so horrible that people buy it as a diss.
It's like bad rats. That's what we call bad rat syndrome.
Yeah. I still get copies of that game to this day, just
People
because of how cheap it
send
is.
both of us bad rats.
Or just buy as a joke. If gift it to a friend, and it's like, haha, you got fingered.
Perfect.
There you go. Good marketing.
Perfect.
This is good marketing, my friends.
Figured it out.
I'd say if you think Donald Trump is awesome, buy Fingered. But if you hate Donald Trump, you should buy fingered too.
You know, if you like Bernie Sanders, buy fingered.
Yeah.
If you like Hillary Clinton, buy fingered, but don't give her fingered because she doesn't like to get fingered.
Now that I'm going to have to call you out on, because that offends me personally, because I don't want to think about Hillary Clinton's vagina.
What woman wouldn't want to be fingered? If I was a woman,
It's,
all day, every day.
well, it really depends on it really depends on their past experience. I mean, if they got fingered in the past and it wasn't very good, not to say any fingered is bad, but getting fingered is bad. Like if they got fingered in the past, like if so, it might have not been the best. But, so
you should have just trailed off into a.
Evan, that's my life is trailing off into
Well, that's how we're going to end the podcast, I guess.
Yes,
so
go to
Well,
fingered
and with
you.
us all just going,
Yeah. So we'll do that together. But before I do, I just want to say, voice crack. I want to say thank you guys for everything. This is amazing.
Yes.
You guys were a treat as always. And this is, again, you are our first guests on Two on the Vine. Now, Ed, you and I have spoke. Matthias and I have spoke on the stream before, and those were all great. This is cool because this is our very first guests on the podcast. So thank you guys for spending your time with us. It's very, very cool. But we're not done yet. And guys, if you're listening, buy fingered. And I just want to say this has been Two on the Vine. I am Vinny.
and I'm KY.
That's KY. And Edmund McMillenn and James Id. Thank you for joining us. I gotta go now, right?
And, yeah.